On that ECBA, that was about 15 students. And then they increased their services, their times. That's the business fatigue. That in OT.
Okay, before I call this meeting to order, I just want to welcome everybody. This is our largest crowd ever, so I very much appreciate everybody coming out and taking an active role in, our public education. We know that there have been several things over the last couple of weeks that we have lots of concerned citizens, lots of concerns and lots of events and lots of all of these things. And, we want you guys to know that we are very much aware and we are very much actively every single day trying to address these issues and try to come up with problems, or not we don't need any more problems, come up with solutions and on how we can just make things better. We cannot speak about those things in open board meetings, but our phone numbers and our email addresses are posted on our ACBOE website, so y'all feel free to contact any one of us or Mr. Tidmore, anyone at Central Office. But please know we do hear your concerns, and we are taking steps to fix a lot of these things. Change takes time, so we just ask that you're patient with us. We are all 5 new, and we are learning and we are figuring things out. So we just thank you for your continued support and just ask to be a little bit patient with us as we kind of work out our kinks. And please keep coming to our meetings because community involvement is super important to all of us. Okay, now I will call the meeting to order. All board members are present. At this time, we will invite Pastor Justin Hall, that he's the student pastor at First Baptist Church, to lead us in tonight's invocation. Everyone, please stand and remain standing for the pledge.
Let's pray. Father, we love you. We thank you for the opportunity to gather, to discuss, to talk. Lord, we thank you that we live in a nation to where education is a priority, to where we have the opportunity to learn and to grow. Father, I pray for wisdom. I pray for discernment. Holy Spirit, I pray for you to move in a very special way tonight. Lord, we pray that everything that is said and done, everything that is discussed would be for, God, not only our children here in our county, not only for our parents, our teachers, our administration, but Lord, it would be for the honor and the glory of you. God, we thank you for sending your Son. We thank you for the cross. We thank you that because of the cross, moments like tonight, nights like tonight, Lord, they matter. They're important. So, Father, I pray that tonight much work would be done. I pray that it would be for the betterment of your people and the betterment of this community. God, we love you. It's in your name that we pray. Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay. I now make the recommendation to approve and amend the agenda to include clear backpacks as item E under, 5 under consider for approval. Can I get a motion?
So moved, Madam Chair.
Second.
Okay. All in favor, please raise your right hand to amend the agenda. Okay. I will now turn the meeting to Mr. Tidmore.
We have just a couple of items under receivers information, and I know this may be a lot of movement, but I think probably what we need to do is if you are a member of the school counseling staff, whether it's a social worker, mental health, if you'll just stand up where you are, because it was going to have you come up here, but it may be a little bit too much movement, but if you'll just stand up where you are, including Miss Addison, who is the counseling coordinator. Don't be shy. Okay, what we'll do, we'll just ask you to introduce yourself and tell us your school and your role. But please, this is National School Counseling Week, and now so more than ever, we certainly welcome and appreciate our school counselors with their mental health and everything. So we'll start right here.
Okay, I'm Kim Hicks. I'm from Marbury High. I serve really 9 through 12, but I'm specifically categorized
categorized as the 11th and 12th counselor. I've been at Marbury for 26 years.
Okay.
I'm Amber Day. I'm also at Marbury High School. I'm the new face to the counseling staff there, so this is my second year to be at Marbury, specifically the lower grades 9 and 10, but like 6, 7, so all.
Okay.
Nikia Fan, I'm new to College County this year. It's my 10th year as a counselor. I'm at Prattville Junior High, and I serve as the 8th grade counselor.
Okay.
I'm Cindy Campion. I'm the mental health coordinator for Prattville Junior High and Prattville High School.
I'm Victoria Cornell. I'm the counselor at Prattville Kindergarten. This is my 3rd year in the College County. I'm Wendy Ellender. I'm the counselor at Pine Level Elementary for 3rd and 4th grade, and this is my 5th year.
My name is Annabeth Green. I'm the pre-K through 2nd grade counselor at Pine Level Elementary School, and this is my 8th year.
And Miss Addison, please.
I'm Tricia Scott Addison, Director of Student Services in Secondary Schools.
All right. Again, this is National School Counseling Week, and we really couldn't do what we do without our school counselors. I appreciate you very much. I know we expect a lot from y'all. Sometimes it seems like more so, sometimes than others, but you certainly do make a difference in all that you do in our schools. So thank you for what you do. All right. Next item we have a couple of requests to address the board. And I do need to remind you that there is a 3-minute limit, and you cannot mention names. And when the buzzer rings, we ask that you stop where you are, and there won't be, we don't necessarily, there's not any discussion after. We'll follow up with after the meeting the next day. Okay? So we'll start with Mr. Lucas. If you'll just come forward. And you can, in front, or wherever you would like to be.
Good evening. As a pastor in this area, as a concerned citizen with children that goes to our Tully County school system, I am disappointed on so many levels. And I want to ask this. I know y'all can't answer questions, so I don't know when we can ask questions in public, but is there something in the handbook where our children have to write a statement after an incident? Is there anywhere in the handbook where they have to write a statement? Why do I ask that? Because our children are still minors, and when they write something on paper, there's no guardian, there's not a parent there. I just don't think that that's fair, because what's written down can be used against them, because a lot of them are emotional. They don't really understand what they're doing. So I do feel that needs to be addressed. I believe that I've told a teacher that bullying, nobody really deals with bullying. The reason why a lot of time incidents happen where kids bring weapons to school is because when they go to the folks they're supposed to go to and say they have a problem, it's pushed under the rug. I've witnessed that firsthand on more than one occasion. So what does that do with our children? And you say, well, go tell somebody. Go tell somebody this is happening, and then they don't do anything. So what happens is our children don't have trust in the adults anymore. So now a child being bullied, you see it on video that I walked over to him and I said something, we engaged, and yet him get punished as well when I was the aggressor. I still think that we need to look into that, because something had to make this happen. And we see it on video, and we still said, well, we got to investigate it. I mean, you see it. And the last thing before I sit down is this. How can the person investigate the situation? And they are friends with one child's parent, or they go to church together, or they was at the Christian, or they was the bridesmaids, whatever. So how can you not be biased? Because I see it all the time. Kids get into a fight because their kids is friends with them and they're a teacher or a principal or whatever. their kid gets nothing and another kid get punished. I believe we need to look into that. If you're gonna be for all the kids, be for all the kids. And our kids should be important. The prayer was, we're concerned about the kids. We need metal detectors, things that can detect some of these problems, some of the issues. And my last question, you notice the counselors, after that incident in the little arena, were those kids counseled?
Thank you.
You for your time.
And next, we have Mr. Short.
Information for each of you. Good evening. I have given you all copies of pages 15 through 20 of the Autauga County Schools Code of Conduct. Highlighted are the points I will cover tonight in regard to this matter. I have also included duties for the superintendent from the Autauga County Schools Policy Manual and a brief narrative about what has transpired to lead us here. The superintendent has made a unilateral decision to release a student from alternative school after only serving 3 of his 10 days pending administrative hearing. This student unprovokedly assaulted my son from behind. I believe the superintendent made this decision based out of fear and intimidation. In a meeting I had with the superintendent this past Thursday, he stated the student was released because PJHS administration did not follow policy in handling an intermediate offense between this student and my son 2 days prior to the assault. He told me if the first incident was handled, then my son would not have been assaulted 2 days later. The 2 incidences are apples and oranges. I will cover board policy that demonstrates that PJHS administration did in fact follow policy, and the superintendent did not follow policy. Let's start with the policy 2.05, the superintendent's duties. Responsibility 1 states the superintendent will implement all policies, rules, regulations adopted by the board. Now we'll look at page 15 of the Code of Conduct. There you will see both students charged for the first incident. It is highlighted and noted for you. Next, you will turn to page 16, where you'll find the administrative disciplinary action taken. I believe we can all agree that Prattville Junior High School did in fact follow policy. Also on page 16, you will find the charge the student received for the second incident. Next, you'll turn to page 17. There you will find the administrative disciplinary action taken, which was referral to the alternative school. Once again, Prattville Junior High School did follow policy. Finally, we'll turn to page 19. If you'll look at bullet 4B, it states, students enrolled in Second Chance program will remain in the program until their assigned time, plus any additional time added by Second Chance program personnel is completed. There will be no early release. This is where the superintendent violated policy by acting unilaterally in his decision to allow the student to return to school. I am requesting that the student be reassigned alternative school per policy to complete his 10 days pending his administrative hearing. I'm also requesting that an investigation be conducted by an independent source in regard to this matter. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. As Mr. Tidmore said, he will be in contact with both of you by the end of the week. So thank you all both.
Thank you.
Okay, so our next item is the consider for approval consent agenda. For those of you who are new tonight, new to our board meetings, the consent agenda is used to streamline our meeting procedures by collecting routine and non-controversial items into a group where it all passes with a single vote. The things you'll see listed on the consent agenda are everyday ongoings within our school system, but they still need board approval. So if you have any questions about an item that you see listed under the consent agenda, you can reach out to one of us and we can explain it to you a little bit further. But for right now, we're going to, board members, can I get a motion to accept the consent agenda? Oh, can I make a recommendation? Oh, you do.
Board members, I recommend approval of the consent agenda as presented, and there will be a few things that we'll talk about on these.
I move to accept the consent agenda.
Second the motion.
Okay. All in favor of accepting the consent agenda, please raise your right hand.
Okay, just a couple of things. Number 5, the Prattville Intermediate School IXL Learning. That is one of their intervention programs that they use. So, if I'm not, I think that's paid for out of their Title I funds. Okay, and then the second one is an increase in the contract amount for our BCBA because of the number of services that have had to increase for some of our kids. So those were the two. The others were just disposals and minutes and things. Any questions about any of those?
Any questions? No.
Okay. Next, we move into consider for approval. I recommend approving the alternate bid for the Prattville Early Learning Center in the amount of $1,135,600 as presented.
Okay. Board members, can I get a motion to accept the budget errors, what I called it, for the Prattville Early Learning Center?
I make a motion to accept the bid on the Prattville Early Learning Center.
Second.
This was a typographical error that I discovered when we were trying to match up some other things, so that gets it correct.
So we're still within the
yes.
initial projected budget?
Yes. Okay. Board members, I recommend approval of the following resolution.
I think we have to vote on that.
Sorry, got to vote.
Okay, all in favor, raise your right hand.
Okay. Next, board members, I recommend approval of the following resolution. Whereas the Autauga County Board of Education, pursuant to the 2015 Alabama School Choice and Student Opportunity Act, would like to serve as a charter school authorizer. Therefore, be it resolved by the Autauga County Board of Education that Superintendent Timothy Tidmore is authorized to complete and submit the charter authorizer application for registration to the Alabama State Department of Education. This will be completed by the curriculum staff and federal program staff.
Okay. Board members, can I get a motion to accept the resolution?
I make a motion to accept the resolution.
A second.
Okay. Are there any other discussions or questions about?
Mr. Tidmore, could you just kind of explain what that means?
Yes. What that means is, okay, several years, 2015, the State Department or the legislature authorized charter schools within the state. And there were two ways a charter school could become a charter, and that was either as a startup or as a conversion. A startup is something that's usually like a company, or they have a community-based organization that starts it from scratch. We have the option of becoming an authorizer, which is usually could be one of our schools, or we have the opportunity to review the application, any application for charter school before they can apply and be approved. So it gives us more of a say into what comes into our county.
Okay. Any other? Okay. All in favor, raise your right hand.
All right. The next, I recommend approval of the personnel action as presented.
Okay. Board members?
I make a motion to approve.
Make a motion to approve the personnel report.
A second.
Okay. Are there any questions or discussions about the items on the personnel report? No? All right. Everyone in favor, please raise your right hand. Okay. Now that that's official, we would like to do something a little bit different that we haven't typically done here. We would like to announce our new employees and welcome them to Autauga County. Whether you're a bus driver, support staff, administrator, it takes all kinds for our county to succeed here. So we want all of you to know that you are a valued employee and you matter to us. So we hope you are as excited to work for us as we are for you. So as we call your name, will you please stand so we can give you the proper recognition?
Do you have to?
Oh, do you want me to read?
No, I can read.
Okay.
And
I have it too.
we won't name the,
Well, if you're here,
if you're here.
present.
First, the employment, we have Deborah Hudson. I don't know, some of them had prior commitments. There we go. To Darius Perry. I think I saw him. Shannon Swinson. She's not technically a brand new person, but she is coming in a different position. Dorothy Flowers. Laurie Wesley. And Katie Whitmore. All right. Welcome.
Thank y'all.
Thank
y'all
you.
for being here. We really appreciate it. Since we are all new, we like to put faces with everybody and faces with names and kind of know who everybody is. So we really appreciate you guys making time to come tonight. So welcome aboard.
Yes. The next item, it's a little bit of a time crunch, but I recommend approval of the letter to the ALSDE in support of the STAR Reading and Math program as presented. And I have Mrs. McNider and her team, if they're to answer any questions. STAR is our benchmark assessment program that had been previously on the state list for early literacy. And recently it was taken off because of the various reasons. I'm not sure what the exact reason is. About 60% of the state uses STAR program, STAR Reading and Math, and it would actually set us back for a couple of years if we're not allowed to use that. Pretty much what that means is we wouldn't be allowed to use the literacy money to fund the program for K through 3. So if there's any questions, we just kind of felt like that would be something that we could at least share our concerns with the state board, simply because our teachers have put in a lot of hard work trying to, or getting it mastered and understanding the reports in progress, and it's just it's a good program. Ms. McNider, or your team, do you have?
I think you said it.
Okay. Can I get a motion to approve the STAR Reading and Math support letter?
So moved.
I second.
Okay. All in favor, raise your right hand.
As far as the superintendent, oh no, we got one more. I recommend approval of the clear backpacks.
Me.
Oh, I'm sorry.
That's
Your
me.
discussion.
Yeah. So I had asked to have added to our agenda an item of clear backpacks. In light of recent security issues that we have had at a few of the schools, I feel like this is a huge safety concern that we have, and I feel like this is the quickest action that we can take. Yes, metal detectors would be great. Those cost money. We are working on trying to find some funds for that, whether it be grants or money. We are working on that, but that takes a lot more time. The quickest thing that we can do is to implement a clear backpack policy, and I know that there are going to be a lot of things that we need to consider, but I really do feel like this is a safety issue for Prattville Junior High and Prattville High School only, just from now until the end of the school year, and then we can reassess after that. So I would like to, open it up for, can I get a motion to, accept the clear backpacks on the agenda?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor, raise your right hand. Okay, so there are any, questions, or, I guess I should have asked questions before that. Any discussions or anything that we would like to?
Yeah, I just want to make sure that, I think it's a good policy, but making sure that it's enacted correctly of just, being able to equip administration of what exactly is allowed, what's not, sports bags, purses, again, of what we're going to allow, what's not, where there's not confusion. What do we do if kids don't have, that. I mean, just real world, that's the things that are going to happen. I think our administrators are pushed anyway of making sure that we have a plan. What is our kind of our timeline that we'd be looking to be able to provide, or questions that I have of what we're looking at on timeline and
Yeah,
also.
those are my questions.
Right.
And then are we, if they show up and it's not clear, are we sending them home?
Right.
And we would have to have those.
Right. So, I've asked, a few people within our community, and it's not, it's not definite yet, but to help us with that, to help, buy some backpacks and get that. So as soon as I get, some confirmation of how many and when they're going to be in, we can kind of set a hard date, hopefully in the next week or two, to do that. And like I said, I know that there's going to be a lot of things, a lot of the little things that we can do, but hopefully in the week or so that we have, we can prepare and we can help our administrators kind of be prepared and come up, try to think through all of those scenarios and come up with a solution to that. Not everything we do is going to be perfect, but I feel very strongly about the safety of our kids. I mean, my kids are there, and it's just hard. We can go through the what ifs all day long, but.
Well, and I think Billy brings up a good point that we need to have some administrators at the table to help decide how this is going to be implemented.
Yes.
And they see things that we can't see and
Right.
foresee.
Absolutely, yeah. And just to know that they have our support. Like, do we need to be there on the first day? That it's, that it takes action. What do we need to do to help support or to help this run smoothly? Now, it's not going to run. We're going to have some bumps in the road, I know, but we are looking at purchasing some backpacks and getting some people in the community to purchase some backpacks so that the students who aren't able to do that will have that available to them as far as like size and, all of that goes, and athletic bags and stuff. That is something that we got to look at. Is that something we want to put in stone tonight, or is it something that we want to, we want to talk about with our administrators? That's
My opinion, I'll say, is I think we've got to talk to administrators. Again, we're talking about upwards of 3,000 kids that this would affect, of making sure that the administrators, that day to day, that they believe in the plan and that it's not something that's being pushed from the top down on them, that they've got to feel like it's gonna work, it's gonna be doable. Again, I'm for it. I just want to make sure that we have it implemented correctly, to cause as little headache for day-to-day school activity and not to put more work on our administrators or our teachers.
Right. I mean, that's the last thing we want to do is create more work.
Madam Chair, I would just like to commend you for the courage in this first step. I know this will be a first step in what we're facing. There may be bumps in the road. No bump is worth a child's life. And, we all campaigned up here on changing the climate of our schools. We all campaigned up here on providing a safe and effective learning environment. And I think this is the first step that we can take immediately to help ensure that some of the problems that we've had do not continue. Thank you.
Well, like I said, it's not all going to be perfect, and I know that everybody freaking out going to getting a backpack, but I do think that it is for the betterment of our kids. We sat in a safety meeting earlier this week with lots of safety people, the chief of police and Camara and Mr. Tidmore, and they had suggested that this would be the quickest way to enact some change and that it would be more effective. If the teachers or people can see those things walking in the door, it would, hopefully deter some of this behavior that we're seeing. The weapons and drugs and things like that can be seen, and maybe that will deter kids from putting those things in their backpacks. Like I said, it's not going to be perfect, and we still are going to have some issues, but I really hope that this kind of cuts down on the amount that we're seeing. It's a little out of control right now.
Of something, I know earlier you kind of said 2 weeks, would we like have time, if we vote to approve this tonight, to get with administration and see
Yes.
what's a doable time? And that's not a hard date of 2 weeks, that
Right.
maybe
That's a little, right. I mean, it'll depend on how we can get the backpacks, when they'll all be in, we're looking at a deadline of about a week, 2 weeks, it is a little fluid. But I do feel like this is something that we should approve, and then we can sit down with those administrators and say, how can we help you? How can we help this process? How can, we can make it flow a little bit better. So yes, absolutely. Yeah.
We should be able to get with administration this week.
Oh, yeah.
I think.
We have a principals meeting tomorrow.
Oh, okay.
Pretty fast.
Yeah. And so we can kind of talk through those problems with them and kind of figure out how we're gonna go forward. But this is something we can do right now, and I feel like it would be a big change. So if we would like to vote on this issue, we can.
Do we have a date?
I think we just voted.
Well, we did, but we weren't supposed to.
We just had a
Not
discussion,
officially.
it was all, we all voted.
Well, we gotta
discussion,
vote on the
yes.
That's right, that's right.
You got to vote on the
We
recommendation.
vote on.
So are we looking at having a date announced we have some call board meetings coming up?
Yes, we
this week.
can, yes.
So,
After we meet with administration at our next meeting,
Mhm.
Our special board meeting that we're gonna have, we can try to set a date at that time. That'll give us time to talk
okay.
to everybody.
I need to put a date in the recommendation.
Okay.
So
What
February
is that?
21st,
Is that the 21st?
we got one the 21st, is that correct?
What is that to implement?
That's just the date that
That's
we will
just to set the
determine what to do.
implement, yes, to set the date that we're gonna implement it.
That is our morning meeting.
Oh, that's what we're aiming for.
Yes, yes. Well,
The 21st is to
It's to
come
set
up with
the
a
Come
date.
up with a date
Oh,
that
okay.
we'll implement.
Yes.
Yes, sir.
Yeah,
Is that 7 a.m.?
Mhm.
yes,
Okay.
yeah.
Okay, so I recommend approval of the clear backpacks, recommendation at Prattville High School and junior high school, as presented by Board Chairman Kim Crockett. Implementation date will be determined, on February 21st.
Make a motion to approve.
Second.
Okay, all in favor?
Any
Did you write-
discussion or anything?
Oh, yeah, no
Same thing,
discussion,
okay.
yeah.
All right, that stands approved. The last thing, superintendent's report, I do want to express our appreciation for our video team being here again. The YouTube channel, the correct address, it had to be tweaked today, will be on the website tomorrow, maybe on there now. It's on there, so you can click to join it for the meetings. They'll be uploaded probably, Mr. Mills, the next day.
Yeah, we could get the meetings loaded. Right now, we're live streaming.
Okay.
This one was live and
Then
on
we upload-
Prattville Live, but once we get the Board of Education page going, everything will operate off of that. We're just doing this for temporary until we get.
All right.
Do we have close to
Ms. Stacy,
1,000?
how close are we to 1,000?
I'm not sure about
There'll be
that.
quite a
I
few
don't
more
have access
tonight.
to it.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
please go and follow the ACBOE Facebook page.
Would you
That- or
close
the
it?
YouTube. It's a
page.
YouTube, so we can be
Gotta get us
live.
live on that channel, so.
Okay, currently there are 2 subscribers, because I think maybe a wrong channel went out earlier.
Uh-oh,
So.
I know there's more than
I'm just
2,
gonna hold it up for
because
you a
I've
second.
told more than 2.
I know.
On
Well,
our website, if you'll scroll down, sorry, I'll turn back around, to the bottom where you have the quick links, you'll see YouTube channel there. Click on that, use that channel, please.
we're going to go back and make an amendment, because
It'll be,
I guess I followed, or not followed, subscribed
yes.
To the
to the
wrong.
wrong one.
All right.
And
So-
emphasize that it's free. You don't, it's free of charge. It's
Yes.
not you're just subscribing for update. It'll let you know whenever something happens on the site.
Okay.
Okay, well, so before we adjourn really quick, I know we announced this, it was School Counselors Week, and so we really appreciate all of our school counselors, but February 22nd is also a very important day for us to recognize. It is Bus Driver Appreciation Day. So, we rely on them to transport our most valuable assets back
Every
and
day.
forth to school every day, so we appreciate everything that they do for Atauga County. So if you know a bus driver or your kid rides a bus, maybe buy them a Snickers or a Coke and tell them thank you very much for keeping your kids safe. So we appreciate all of them. March 3rd is Maintenance Appreciation Day for our maintenance department. They work tirelessly every single day to keep our buildings afloat. So we would like to recognize them and appreciate them. So There's anything else that anybody would like to talk about?
I will, one other thing, we'll talk just briefly about it at the work session. We have scheduled, we can't give dates or anything, but we will have visits from drug dogs in the very, very near future.
Are those announced or?
No.
No.
3 of us, no.
Okay. All right, well.
Ma'am? Oh,
That's it. Those 3 are including the dog.
Oh, yeah. They're smarter than we are. So that's all. If nothing else?
If there's nothing else, we will have a work session to follow it. We'll take a little bit break, and then we will have a work session. So,
could we get a picture with the counselors?
Yes, Council, if y'all will come up,
yes.
as everyone's dismissed, we can.
And the new employees?
Oh, new
Yes.
yes. If y'all stay for a quick picture, well, we have to adjourn the meeting. So, hold on. This concludes our business for tonight. So, board
Somebody's
members,
gotta
may I please have a motion to adjourn the meeting?
I make a motion.
I second.
Okay, all in favor of adjourning the meeting, raise your right hand. Thank you. We are adjourned.
Counselors.